want you this week in the podcast to think about a creative project that you finished and you feel you achieved something. You got it out the door, it was finished, the world saw it, and you got either good commercial or critical success from it, or indeed learned other lessons. And I want you to take that project and ask yourself the following questions. Because the thing is about when you can review what worked, you can really start to pull out valuable lessons that you can move forward with for new projects. So, hi, this is Marisha Trembetska. This is for my Love Your Creativity and Make Money podcast. We're in the early part of 2021. Lockdown is carrying on. And as always, the environment, the world around is insane. With everything that's going on in America, etc., etc. But the truth is, the only thing we can control is what we do and how we think about things. What happens in the world around us can often seem completely out of our control. So this week, I am having a look at what lessons we can learn from past projects and then moving it into the new projects for this year. It's just a really good exercise to do, and it will give you a feeling of control back, which I think is really important right now as well. So this will be great for your mental health. So the reason I'm inspired to do this is that 2 days ago, up popped on my Facebook feed the front cover of the brochure of my very first full 1 hour singing psychic show. So back in 2015, Tristan Bates Theatre in the West End of London, and it was part of a solo theatre festival. So you can see my face as the singing psychic right above Diana Riggs, which I think is just very cool, as in the Diana Rigg, back in 2015. And it's just made me think this week about how much work and effort and joy and blind faith and lessons learned I've had from that singing psychic character. So that's what inspired me to kind of review it for myself, because obviously I want to start new projects this year. There's no venues open, there's no theatres open. There is the online stuff, which works, but it feels very different, certainly from someone who loves being on stage live and working live audiences and doing all the improv I do. For me, when I have a script and do a film script, it's a very different energy. It's quite precious, but I just love that live feel. So let's think about a project. Pick a project that you've got. It could be a book you finished and got out the door, a song, a film, a web series, a short. A painting that you then went and sold, an exhibition. Just think about something you've done in the past. It could be even something related to when you were in a group of people working together. It doesn't need to be a solo project. It would be something you all worked together en masse. But you had certainly an important input into that, because this is about your life lessons. So, and how are we defining success as in a successful project? It could be critical success. It could be commercial. But as we know, with some artistic projects, we get so much more about that, things that carry through us. We learn things about ourselves and a certain area of life. I think every time I've ever been an actor in, certainly in a theatre piece or in a historical film, or I've always spent, or even, when I've chosen to put a lot of work in the backstudy of a character, so sometimes not often in, say, a very quick short or a commercial, but I've had the time and the ability to be able to go, let me look at the world around this character I'm playing, and the world includes the historical background and everything. You learn so much, and that also informs you. But let's pick something that you think, I really learned something there. That was a success. So, question 1, what worked? What did you do that worked? Why do you feel it's a success? Write all the things down. So I'll take the singing psychic just as an example. Well, I didn't just I've made and written lots of shows, but with my singing psychic character, if you've not seen it, you can Google her. So she reads the songs in your heart. And it's a success in many, many ways, not least the fact, the amount of sheer unadulterated joy that I have in doing her, and also the joy that I know she gives everyone else. My very favourite press quote, I think, of my life is completely bonkers in a good way, 5 stars. And that was relating to a quite an early extract of singing psychic as I was developing her. But if I look at why did it work? Well, I had the idea back, I think it was 2007, did little bits with it. I was working on a radio show script writing course and had to do something for homework. Came up with the idea, and then did bits of it over the years. And in fact, 2014, I did quite a few bits. I spent 6 hours doing one-to-one readings as a singing psychic. At that point, she didn't have the accent, she didn't have the wig, but she did understand she could walk through a world of music. I always understood that. I mean, and then I finally put it together, and I joined a workshop so that then I did a 20-minute piece. So therefore, I did a workshop once a week. So I had to turn up and do work on my show, because when you're self-employed and self-motivated with this work, it can be really hard to get a focus. So I'm aware that me doing a group thing where we all had to turn up and do work towards our show helped. I then started working with other people, and I booked a director to work some stuff through, art director, and then set a deadline for, okay, this festival came up, particularly the first 2015, and I applied and got in. I thought, okay, that's the goal, February 2015. So there was lots of things that made me kind of do the right steps. Now, what else did I do? Well, since then, it's not just one show, is it? I made my first video as a singing psychic in the week before 2015, it was when 50 Shades of Grey was being released, and I was also had been at the Berlin Film Festival where the 50 Shades premiered. So I made my first video. Now I've had hundreds of videos. I've taught myself to edit and on green screen and shoot, and I've got to put my green screen up now, but I just hate ironing. But there's so many questions you can ask yourself about what worked and what was the extra puts. What did you do press? Well, now Singing Psychic is so incredibly branded and looks amazing because of my great friend and also kind of co-conspirator Martin Butterworth. So he has done posters for so many art directors as well, for so many Hollywood posters and great work. He's incredible. So I've put a little team together, which I'd used before, but it really seemed to gel. This was not my first time at writing shows and touring them, but yeah. So write all the things that what worked. Then what didn't work? What did you find particularly difficult? It always takes more time than you think. If I think about my Queen of the Fucking World show, that I also deem as a success in a different way, I got so much research because I got funding for it, and I did lots of interviews. Me trying to find the arc of the character and the play, the 1 hour play, it's a show about sexual politics, and learning the music I had to, and learning the instruments and putting the tech in. There were so many challenges. And even with Singing Psychic, I'm like, well, I want to be able to, at any point in the show, turn around to you and go, the audience member, and say, oh, I can hear this song, or let me read your heart. How am I going to do this? What is the tech? And then, of course, I've developed the Singing Psychic game show, which, of course, has been to Australia and everywhere. And again, even with that, although the character really developed well, there was so much. Even now I'm going, well, I've done the game show version 1. What's game show version 2 looking like for 2021? So I'm looking at that. There's always what technical problems did you hit? Did you have problems booking venues? How did you sell? Write down things you found really difficult. Third, how did you finance this project? Was it bootstrap? You did a bit and then got a bit of funding from here. You got a venue to help you put it on. Did you do any merchandising? Think about the ways you funded it, or did you fund it to certain levels and then get people involved? Did you write it to a script level and then get it to somebody, maybe a production company who took it on? Have a think about how many letters you wrote and how much stuff you did. 4, who helped you? What network did you bring in? So do you have a co-conspirator like I did? Did you hire someone to be a director or do some press for you? Where did you find people that gave you success? And also what lessons did you learn from working with some people so that's probably 5. Lessons you won't repeat about working with people that didn't work for your project. Many years ago, I was touring, I had a jazz band and I toured with them, and I hired someone who seemed a friend of mine, great artist as well. Oh my God, such a nightmare when it came to performance. And when all I'm focusing on as a producer artist is getting on stage, my other musicians were completely fine, but this one was really difficult. And I've done certainly some big sellout shows of one-off ideas that maybe I didn't take further than I could have, or they were then when it became an Edinburgh show. And there's some there's some people I've used over and over again, and if I next need them, I know you end up with these co-conspirators and network people that you always work with. Often film directors work the same DOP. They'll have the same producer. Look at the amazing Ken Loach. So his producing partner is Rebecca O'Ryan. I've met both of them. I've been to my friend Martin actually has done the titles for his last 16 films. So I've kind of met them, and not that closely, but I've seen them in action. I've certainly been to their films in Cannes and done the premieres. But the two of them have a really good working relationship. And that Paul, I've forgotten his name, who I've met very briefly in passing, writes the scripts for Ken and develops that as well. So they have a really tight network. It's really common. So think about the networks you can put together. Did you have, question 6, I believe, did you have a definition of done? What was, when you started this project, what was the aim? For me, I didn't really have a definition of done for the singing psychic, but I kept developing her, particularly over 2012, 13, 14. But although 2011, I did like a very short little screen thing of her. It was like a monologue exercise. And someone called in and she picked up the phone. The real definition for done, though, for me, is I then managed to get into that first 15 festival in February. I always talk about how I don't call deadlines, but lifelines. But was there a definition of done? And did you have a date of that done? So that's question 7. Did you have a date of your done as well as a definition? The film will be finished. The song will be released. This is the date. If you didn't, why didn't you, and what worked for you better? Did you just casually hang it out? Marketing. Did you do marketing? What did you do to get it out there? What did you do to get people involved? What did you do did you kind of contact your friends on Facebook or start doing Twitches? Or what did you do to start building your network and market the message of your successful project? And then lastly, I'd like you to have a look at all of what you've written. Hopefully you've written it down, but maybe you haven't. And think about what lessons can you really take from your ruminations just? Because in business, reflecting is such an important part. What went right, what went wrong is really important. We don't do enough of it as artists. And I'm not just talking about, because art itself, I use the wider term of art, when is it finished? You never know when to stop painting. You can spend forever developing ideas, but actually it's about shipping it and getting it out the door. And sometimes we do that because we've got a publishing contract. Sometimes we do it because we've got can you come and be in the script? I've got this idea. Sometimes it's about, there's a scholarship program, an award program that we need to get the script in by there to be considered. I did a really tiny little 2-minute film called When Lightning Strikes last year, 2020 even. Because I'd seen in the Instagram in the morning that Roger Corman, the director, he was doing a little 2-minute film, and he'd watched them all, and it had to be about set in lockdown, done on an iPad, done only 2 minutes, filmed on your phone. Now, I was very lucky to have work to do that day, so at 7:00 at night I thought, right, I'm going to make a 2-minute film. And you can find it, it's on YouTube, When Lightning Strikes by Marisha Trembetska. The day before, my sister and I had chopped her dog's fur, because it's a Maltese, and we'd spent hours in the bath. Unfortunately, I didn't get footage of us in the bath because I didn't think I was making a film. But the next day, I looked at the dog, and she looked really, so cute. She looked like the two of us had hacked at her. She was completely safe, but we just had to, for her health and safety, get rid of some of the long dreadlocks she was developing from lockdown, and she hadn't had a grooming in a while. So I went out at 7:00 at night, took all the dogs for the walk, went into the fields. My sister's got horses, everyone got things, even wrote a song that day on my guitar. Song is a bit of a stretch. It went something like, Fluffles, you're so beautiful, can't you see? It's a really cute little thing. Sound is terrible. I literally envisaged it from 7 p.m. at night when I went to bed at 4 in the morning because I had to edit it as well super quickly. And I popped it out. I didn't hear any feedback, but I love that little film. And the dogs look super cute. There's no humans in it apart from me at the end playing the guitar and a few feet. It was deliberately made that way. But anyway, I just loved it. So And it inspires me to keep on making at a time when it's really hard. Have a go. And this is always a podcast you can come back to at any point and have a listen. So if you do want to work with me, the links are all in my link tree above in my bio and Instagram. But if you're not listening that way, then you can contact my acting agent for acting work. If you want to contact me about booking the Singing Psychic and the Singing Psychic corporate bookings and indeed her game show, then contact me directly at Marisha T on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm also Marisha Trembetsker on Facebook. Or indeed my Queen of the Fucking World show about sexual politics. So fierce. But my nails are really long. You can see I haven't been practicing guitar enough. So that's one of my to-dos for 2021. I'm even a TEDx speaker, madly, and I'm sure I will speak more and more about this kind of creative work that's happening. The book is coming soon. Get your Art in Gear book. So wherever you are in the world listening to me, you're doing great. It's really hard. You're doing great. Let's just keep on going. Call your friends. If you're starting to feel super lonely and afraid, give someone a call, and maybe professional help as well can really help. But doing exercises when we remember the good things we've done. This is not about us going, oh, the world was so much better then. I was so much more beautiful, rich. I could gig wherever I wanted. None of that, please. None of that. This is about what lessons can you pull out of the that you did that worked. And sure, the synchronicity that happened is important too. Also think about the synchronicity that happened. But think about, why did we get synchronicity? And normally the synchronicity, the magic, the luck comes because of all the work we've done before. Add that bit. Okay, speak to you soon. There is every week on a Sunday, there's my Singing Psychic podcast for the songs for the week ahead. Go and check that out. It's really fun if you haven't listened to it before. And equally, I'll be back next Thursday with another Love Your Creativity and Make Money podcast. Thanks. Bye.